Hello guys, Joe speaking. Welcome to Bedtime Stories, episode number 421. Today we do the Bee Gees Logo and Boat Biography. So let's read it down, shall we? So we got for us. This is by Carl Allen, illustrated by Leo Quagno. Here we go. For all the Allen siblings, big and small, K.A. Published by Golden Book New York release, copyright 2023, all it deserved. Here we go, and all the Allen stuff, big and small. So like, for example, Bee Gees, Staying Alive. That's what Rob Williams should have been. Anyway. Barry, Mary, and Robin Gibb made up the pop rock band Bee Gees. They were singers, they were songwriters, they were the disco icons, okay? Most importantly, they were brothers, okay? Barry Gibb was born September 1st, 1946. His younger twin brothers, Marius and Robin, were born December 22nd, 1949, okay? All three were born on the Isle of Man, an island between Ireland and England. And that's what they had been doing for the past several years. So, very good in the 1940s difference. So there you go. This is before disco, which is maybe stupid nowadays. Next page. Anyway, the brothers grew up in the music all around them. Their father, Hugh, played the drums and was a band leader. Their mother, Barbara, loved to sing. The Gibb family also included the boys, older sister, Leslie, and the younger brother, Andy. Makes sense anyway. When brother Barry was 9, he was given the guitar as a gift. Shortly after that, Barry, Maurice, and Robin started performing around town. The brothers sang in the harmony when singers and boys bleed together. Back then, they were themselves as the Rattlesnakes. The brothers were becoming certain that one day they would become famous. To make sense anyway, even though they were young at the time, in the 1950s. So, if you look back in the 50s, I saw him on VH1's Legends on YouTube. To make sense anyway. Bits and pieces. Next page. Anyway, in 1958, the family took a boat from England to Australia. Wow. To start a new life. The brothers entertained the other passengers on the long journey. In Australia, they played the crowds in the local racetrack. Catching the attention of the first race car driver and Van, a DJ. Both have the same initials of Barry. Because of that coincidence, they have been renamed their group as the Bee Gees, soon named after they was named that officially become the Bee Gees. To make sense in any way. Guitar playing, and of course, harmony singing. To make sense in any way. Next page. 9 years later, the brothers decided to return to England to chase their musical dreams. It was 1967, and the London music scene was hopping. Everyone loved a group called the Beatles. If we want to look at that, another Bedtime Stories episode. The Bee Gees hop people with their love their music as well. To make sense anyway. And of course, it was the 1960s. And it's the same decade, something like that, we have the Easy Beats on the Australian band. C.B. Wright, George Young, Harry Vanda, of course, Snowy Fleet, and of course, Dick Diamond, who founded the Easy Beats. George Young, Harry Vanda went out to become members of producers of AC/DC. Last 2, and of course, Chief, and so many others. Next page. Anyway, producer Alberts. Anyway, the Bee Gees got to work on writing and recording. They were inspired by legendary black musicians such as Smokey Robinson. Okay, makes sense anyway. Always Ready. Okay. Who played blues and mountain music. Okay. The the brothers worked both musical styles into their own songs. The first big single was called New York Miss Mine, disaster 1941. The brothers wrote the song in the stairwell during the power outage. Wow. It was soon followed by two more hits, To Love Somebody and Massachusetts. Okay? Makes sense anyway. The band's first #1 song in America, How Can You Mend, and A Broken Heart was released a few years later. To make sense anyway, but it was a greatest single. So, there you go. Next page. Anyway, the band was doing great, but people's taste in music was changing. The brothers needed to do something different to keep their fans interested. To make sense in any way. They went to Miami, Florida to record their next album, being the new place inspired by the new sound. And that, of course, is disco, which I'm not a fan of, by the way. Unfortunately, says I'm a huge AC/DC fan, Bob Marley fan, if you saw him right here, and of course, metal, rock, and everything else, to make sense in any way. Next page. In Miami recording studio, Barlow sang Boswell. Oh, that makes more sense anyway. Which was his voice so higher. Wow. The band used similar to create more electronic tone, which are changes. BG record new disco. Oh, yeah, that makes more sense anyway. Disco sound was born. Whoa. It's just making no sense anyway. The biggest hit was from the new album called Jive Talking, okay? It was quickly Boogle. It was way to the #1 on the musical charts. The Bee Gees were back on the top, and Disco Fever took over the world. Well, to make a bit of pace of sense in any way, I'm a more of a heavy metal / classic rock and children's music fan myself. This is not one of them. Next page. Anyway, the Bee Gees producer requested some new songs for the movie he was working on. Little did they know, the movie made the band more popular than ever. Saturday Night Fever premiered in 1977. One of the band's most famous songs, Stay Alive, played during the very first scene. And the end credits, by the way. The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack didn't have #1 hit written by the Bee Gees. It had 7. Wow. The album sold 4 million copies and won 4 Grammy Awards. Disco was played in clubs around the planet, and everyone danced to Bee Gees music. Okay? I don't know why I have to dance to disco, so it doesn't make any sense to me. Next page. Anyway, and Stay Alive #1 should have been Robert Williams' praise. Anyway, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and 90s. You know, that makes more sense anyway. The Bee Gees have hits in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, in which each decade the style changed. The hairs were short, long, and shaggy, and the music was slow and fast. They sang low, they sang high, they sang together, they wore everything, the blazers, the bell-bottom pants, and the squinted shirts. To make sense in any way. Although I'm not a disco person, I'm more of a heavy metal fan, per se. These 60s were good. 70s, on the other hand, were not. 80s and 90s were bits and pieces catchy. Anyway, next page. We're almost done with this book, by the way. But the one thing that never changed was their love of making music. When disco stopped being popular, thank God, the brothers wrote songs with other performers, including Barbra Streisand, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, and Diane Warwick. To make sense anyway. Even though I'm not a hip-hop person myself. So there you go. Okay, next page. After making music for more than 4 years, the Bee Gees were inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 1997. Okay, when Maurice passed away in 2003, and Robin in 2012, very life without his brothers, and after thinking about their time together, their epic careers, Barry decided to make music again. He re-recorded some of the Bee Gees' classic songs with the help of famous country music stars like Keith Urban. And that's what they did. They wanted to give brothers, wanted to give founding sons move on to be heavy metal like me, and that's a good thing. Last page book says this: the Gibb Brothers wrote over 1,000 songs and have countless #1 hits. Their harmonies are world famous, Their lyrics that tell stories, and their beats made people want to shimmy and sway. Their music continues to influence artists today. The Bee Gees sounds like it's still staying alive. Unfortunately to say it, I'm not a disco fan, but it has bits and pieces to be more difficulties. So that was the Bee Gees logo book biography. It was very catchy per se, but it wasn't maybe more different than that. Do better, Bee Gees. And that was Bedtime Stories episode number 421. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. Next is going to be a Bedtime Stories episode number 422. Is going to be a logo book biography book about Oprah Winfrey. Till next time, suggest about the baby. Come on, Bedtime Stories episodes. So, sit out. See ya.